Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel, and we're here at MetroEast Community Media. Now we're going to be talking with Cascadia Behavioral Health Care and also NAMI Multnomah, and we're going to be talking about an event that they are going to partner on that you'll want to hear all about. So here to represent, I have Neil Falk. You are the Associate Medical Director for Cascadia Behavioral Health Care. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate being here. Thank you.
And Patty Lyons, you're an Associate Director at NAMI Multnomah.
Yes.
Thank you both. This is nice to have both organizations here because you sort of complement each other. You do different things, but in the same area of mental health. So tell me, if you would, maybe Neil, you want to start by telling me a little bit about Cascadia. I know it's a large organization, but give me some details about how long it's been around and what your mission is.
Cascadia has been around, goodness, I'd have to think here, about 13 years, but it's an umbrella organization, if you will, of many agencies that have come together, and those agencies, some extend back to the 1960s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And at present, we have just under 1,000 employees and serve 15,000 different individuals through the course of a year with the mission of providing healing, hope, and homes to people who have addiction issues and mental health issues.
Okay. Now, what is your service area? Is it
we serve
the greater Portland area? Is it all of Oregon? Is it?
Our services are primarily within Multnomah County, but we also have services in Clackamas and Washington County as well, and some programming down in Lane County as well as Marion County.
Okay, and growing, it seems like.
Indeed.
So when you say you're an umbrella organization for many different organizations, give me an example of a couple of those.
And not an umbrella organization, I apologize. It's more the merging of multiple agencies over the years. So we have 4 main outpatient clinics that provide, I can't even count what multitude of services. Again, multiple levels of services from time-limited therapy to case management services and medication management for people with severe and persistent mental illnesses. We provide a large stock of housing within the, Multnomah County. Some of it is just open market housing. Some of it is supported housing with staff on site 24/7.
Okay.
We provide crisis services within Multnomah County, which I could go into detail of.
You cover a lot of, that's really a large area. Obviously, mental health is a huge thing, as we talked about earlier. It's a huge issue, especially with a lot of the things that have been happening in the news, and you know, people saying, well, it's because we don't have enough mental health services. We don't, people have a hard time accessing mental health services, that kind of thing. NAMI, on the other hand, is more of a support group.
Right.
Explain to me, if you would, rather than me telling you. Explain to me exactly, and to our viewers, what it is that NAMI does.
Well, we've been around for 30 years, and we're NAMI Multnomah, so we serve just Multnomah County, but we have education programs, support groups, and advocacy.
Okay.
And all these are free of charge, so we really have 2 tracks. One is for the family member who has a loved one who's dealing with a mental illness, and the other is a person who's themselves dealing with it. So people that do the classes and the support groups are all peers. They're either a family member themselves that have been through a crisis, or they're a peer that have kind of been through the trenches and know what it feels like to do that. So our classes really talk about wellness, recovery. We want to let people know what other resources are out there in the community. So we've got a helpline and lots of other direct services through a Multnomah County contract.
Right, great. And NAMI stands for National
Alliance.
Alliance.
A mental illness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did you say?
So we've been around 30 years, and we're one of the largest affiliates within the state. There is a NAMI Clackamas, NAMI Washington County, NAMI Lane County, but each is their own 501c3. We're own board, so we have different directions. But the NAMI logo and the NAMI classes are all based on what NAMI National has deemed as being important, and the curriculum for the classes and the support groups.
Okay, so you take that as your directive and then kind of personalize it for each.
Yeah, for the need. Yeah.
Okay. What do you see as the biggest challenge to your organization right now as far as trying to meet the needs or, helping?
The need is enormous, and also besides the need and not being able to accommodate everybody, it's the stigma. So getting the people in the door to recognize that we can help them. We have empathy, we have knowledge, we have people that have also been through that, so that they can feel comfortable to come in and know that they can get the resources or the classes that they need.
Yeah, I have no doubt that that's very true. I mean, I know of people that suffer from mental illness that either don't see it,
Right.
even though maybe everyone around them does,
Right.
or they just don't want to deal with it because
Right.
maybe it'll just go away.
Yeah.
So there's an event coming up.
Yeah.
That is going to address really those issues, and that's the Break the Stigma, Break the Silence. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that? Where did this all start?
Well, a person who's the director of Playback Theater Portland came to me and said that she'd like to work with a nonprofit and do something with a nonprofit regarding breaking the stigma. Playback is a really unique improvisational group. What we do is we have people come and they tell their stories, and then it's improvised right there. So there's highs and lows throughout the evening, and this is our second annual group. Cascadia and NAMI and Playback are all working in conjunction with each other to put on this event.
It sounds fascinating. To me, that sounds really challenging to have to be an actor doing that, to actually improvise those kinds of stories, or actually any kind of stories kind of intimidates me, but
Right.
really it sounds pretty impressive. This is going to be held at the Curious Comedy Theater on MLK.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And the date of that is September 21st.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
But open to the public.
Yes.
Do you need to get tickets ahead of time? We can't say prices on the air, but
Right.
But at the door or ahead of time?
It's cheaper if you get them beforehand,
Okay.
but you can get them at the door
Okay,
also.
okay.
And
So-
there's a link that Cascadia has put together to get
Those,
to
and I
get the
think we'll have
tickets.
that up on the screen. Well, we have the Cascadia website, and I'm sure it's on there.
Yeah, it'll be on there, and in case there's a video hassle or problem, www.cascadiabhc.org.
Okay, great. Now, so tell me a little bit more about this. You said that, so people are sitting in the audience,
Right.
and how many actors or how many stories will they be telling? Do you know?
Well, I think we've got 4 for sure.
Okay.
Last year, both Neil and I told our stories. So we know what it was like. It was like being in the hot seat with a facilitator.
Was it scary for you?
Oh, very.
I mean, you're telling a personal story,
Yes.
something, how you've been affected.
Correct, yeah. But the facilitator, I thought, did very, very well. He just kind of draws the story out. He kind of puts the nuggets that they feel like are kind of the crucial part to tell the story. And the actors within seconds have determined who's going to play yourself. And then they have very little accoutrements, maybe a couple of boas,
Little
and
props.
a little props,
Yeah.
A chair.
yeah, and then they
go with
do the
it, huh?
scene, and it's like I think in telling the story maybe a couple minutes, and then they replay it within 4 or 5 minutes, and it's
Wow.
very powerful to get that story retold. And
I bet. When they were doing your stories, were you surprised by what you saw? I mean,
Very well, in some ways no, but in some ways yes, because it brought out aspects of the situation that I described that I hadn't thought of before.
that's what I was
and
thinking.
gave me a lot
that
of food for thought moving forward.
Now, the people aren't going to be put on the spot, are they? I mean, nobody's going to be asked to share something when they weren't prepared to share or don't want to share, right?
Right.
So there's no fear.
No, the stories that are being told are by 4 people that have been,
They've
chosen, and they know that their stories are
Okay.
going to be told.
Okay.
So no one is going to show up and be put on the spot to say,
Right.
what's your story?
But the artists that are going to be, the actors are not going to know ahead of time.
No.
Okay, that makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. So this event is from 7 to 9 p.m. What is it? Is it sad? Is it happy? Is it funny? What kind of
Yes.
all of those? Perfect.
Yeah.
It's because it seems like in any good story, there is
Yeah.
always, there's a mix of emotions going on there.
That's
And I
right.
would imagine in the stories that would come out that there would be all of that.
Yeah, I think if I had to assign a word thinking of my experience as an audience member last year, it would be touching.
Yeah.
Just different ways of thinking about things, different experiences people have had, and the resilience that they've had coming through them.
Yeah, I bet that shines through a lot.
Very much.
Yeah.
So, what do you hope to gain out of this? What do you want people to get out of this? The audience members, what do you want them to take away?
I think my biggest goal would be that, as the title says, break the silence, break the stigma. So many people are afraid to speak up, in part because they think they're alone, and realizing that people are not alone, and this is unfortunately a prevalent but very recovery-oriented problem. People do get better.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more prevalent than a lot of people think.
Right.
And there's so many levels, right? There's so many levels of mental illness and types of mental illness that there are some things that are going to go on that will affect you your entire life, other things that may be a situational thing or that I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology, but something that you can get through with some help.
Yeah.
Well, all of it you probably get through with some help, but you just need to know where to go and how to get that help and be able to talk about it and be able to get
and
ask
to be
for the
able
help.
to recognize that even if it's not 100% resolved, that's okay.
Right.
If it's better, it's
Right,
better.
exactly.
Better is always good. So, do you want to share any of your personal story about why you're involved with NAMI? Just you don't have I don't need names or details. Just as a family member, or you know.
I'm a family member, and I really see the support that's given to a family member, because sometimes, even though you work at a place and you're surrounded with mental health, and you should know more, you can be at a loss when it comes to your child or your father or your brother. And just knowing that there's a community, and I think that's what this play does, is it shows a community. You know, there's 1 in 5 people in this nation that are affected by mental illness.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That is.
And if you know that you're not alone and that you don't have to hide and you don't have to be shamed of who you are or what you have in your family, then I think you can get help, and you can get help sooner, and recovery is, on the way. So.
And for families to know that some of their role is just to be supportive and to be there.
That's right.
And not to put that stigma of shame, because it's 1 in 5. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
What about Cascadia as an organization? As a representative of Cascadia, what would you say to people that perhaps feel like they have a mental health issue, or somebody else they know has one? What would you tell them the first step might be to get help?
Well, within Multnomah County, Washington County, or Clackamas County, each county has a helpline that can be called.
Okay.
And they can function not just as a crisis line, but in a way as a clearinghouse of information.
Oh, okay.
So I'm having such and such a problem, or I know someone who's dealing with this issue. They could recommend resources that could help them out.
And there's a lot of resources out there, right? I mean,
Absolutely. People can also go directly to the websites of Cascadia or other health providers in town. There'll be phone numbers listed. There'll be, at least at Cascadia, an urgent walk-in clinic.
Okay.
I know for a while, and I think we still have up, you could do an application for care online to see what you would qualify for and what services you could get.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there, but people don't always know what they are. So if they have a place maybe to start, like Cascadia, that can refer them, then that's reassuring.
And the other thing that I like about our organization and the other outpatient providers in the area is I'd like to think we're a lot less traumatic than going to, say, an emergency room.
Yeah.
Where it's loud and it's noisy.
Or just stress you out in addition to whatever else is going on.
It's a nicer port of entry, if you will, into a system.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this event. It's Wednesday, September 21st, Curious Comedy Theater. Anything else we should know before we wrap up this segment about the event or about your organizations?
Come. Enjoy, make yourself known, introduce yourself when you come, and check us out, NAMIMultnomah.org, CascadiaBehaviorHealth.org. So.
Great. Super. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Very
Appreciate it. Thanks for watching this segment of Community Hotline. I think this is going to be a great event for helping to break the stigma and break the silence. So do your part and come find out about it and enjoy the show, and then help do just that. I'll be back in just a moment with our last segment of Community Hotline.
how people find their voice and tell their story.
It's the message of, by, and for a community.
We're a gathering place because it gets people of all sorts of different backgrounds underneath one roof.
It's art, it's technology.
A snapshot of our community.
Going live.
In 3, 2, 1.